A little Saints love there, as we recall very well, but not just coming back from 10 down to the Patriots, but they came down from 10 in the fourth quarter, which is even more significant and lends credence to what kind of franchise they are, what kind of legacy they will leave. Super Bowl 49, what a game it was. What a final. 28-24, Patriots win it. Brady wins the MVP, third time he's done that, throws for 328, 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers, I might add. Russell Wilson, 12 completions, but for 247 yards. 2 scores, and oh, by the way, the one number next to that, which will live in infamy, and of course, we'll get into that extensively. It was some football game. There have been some very good Super Bowls. Last year's was not one of those with 2 number 1 seeds. This one was with 2 number 1 seeds. And to try to put it in perspective, Brian, there have been some really good Super Bowl games. Patriots have been in a whole bunch of them. Every one of theirs has been close over the years. And to me, I always think about Dallas-Pittsburgh. And the one in recent years that I think of was Pittsburgh-Arizona, because that was high-quality stuff. Kurt Warner taking his team down on a game-winning drive, it appeared, to score, clutch, and then with virtually no time remaining, Roethlisberger does the same, and Pittsburgh steals it. This was just like that, except Seattle didn't finish at the end.
Yeah, you know, it makes me think, too, what you're talking about, Kenny, is the San Francisco-Cincinnati game, the 2016 game where the Niners came back to score late. Yeah, I mean, it had all of the things that you're looking for in an epic game. And, of course, that final decision by Pete Carroll to throw on second and inches, really, from inside the 1. And I know we'll get into that, but these are the play. That play will make this one of those games that stand out in infamy.
Well, why would you say Pete Carroll? Pete Carroll was a defensive special. He didn't make that call. The offensive coordinator made that call. So don't put that on Pete Carroll.
And
I'm putting
yet
it.
Carroll comes out today.
I'm putting it directly
and he takes
on
credit
Pete
for the
Carroll.
call.
Right. Absolutely.
He said today
Right.
it was my call.
Right.
Now whether he's covering for
Whether
Darrell
he's
Bell
covering or
or
not.
I mean, but
he
Aaron-
takes full
Aaron head
responsibility.
Pete Carroll has
Right.
has the power to say,
Yeah.
no,
but
we
that-
turn and hand the ball to Marshawn.
Yeah, but our head coach is going to automatically stick up for the offensive coordinator. You lose a game like that, you played such a great game, even though you lost a football game, you can't turn and go against your offensive coordinator right there, Brian.
Okay, so you cite the numbers. This year, Lynch was 1 of 5 from the 1-yard line in converting touchdowns. Over the last 3 years, he was 5 out of 12. A little bit better, but still not the number you'd really like. At the same time, given the circumstances, Rick, with that time remaining and a timeout left, you've got to try running the ball at least one time.
Oh, you got to try to run the ball. I mean, no doubt about it. Everybody know that. And then hindsight is the best football you can ever play, too. I mean, but my thing was, everybody in the world know that Lynch should at least got his shot at it. And then you also got another down because you're going to call timeout. So that was the no-brainer right there.
You know, Carroll talks about that play being a good play. Listen, there's 3 things that can happen when you throw the ball in the middle of the field like that, okay? Touchdown, interception, incompletion. And what happened to them was that in the interception, look, everything that from the conception of that play was good, but the fundamentals, they did everything wrong. And I'll go back to Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson is a stand-up guy. He did take blame for that throw. Look, he was looking at the receiver from the get-go on that play, right? He saw Butler make a dash in for that moment. So if he's got it in front of him, Ricky, he's got to throw the ball into the body of the receiver, chin strap or lower, as opposed to leading the receiver, which then enables the defender to jump on that spot. I know it's hindsight.
Well, Ricardo Lockett could have done a better job of challenging for the ball in that circumstance.
Absolutely.
Brandon Brown, I give him all the credit for standing up Kearse, who's supposed to set a pick on the play.
Right.
And he can't do it. But, Ricky, he makes a good point. If you're going to try to throw it there
and
stop the clock,
yeah,
what do you want to throw? You want to throw a fade or something to the outside where it's either caught or it's incomplete. He's right. When you throw to the center of the field in a condensed box with 8 guys in the box, that's where all the guys are. So I think there's something to be said about that, too.
Well, I mean, you know, the ball came out late, you know what I mean? And then the receiver who supposed to been doing the pick got jammed so good it made a whole commotion over there. So it really kind of threw the quarterback off. He should have thrown the ball away.
Absolutely. And look, and then we all go back to, I think the 3 of us totally agree, is that you still turn and hand the ball to the beast.
But you know, both quarterbacks did the same thing. Look at the first quarter with Tom Brady. He should have threw the ball up in the stand and got the and got the field goal. I mean, then he came back, the next interception from the linebacker, he was late with that throw, and linebacker made a great interception. So both quarterbacks had a rough day, but they, you know.
But
All right, classic game. We want to take a look at some of the numbers from the game now because the numbers were compelling, and they did kind of tell the story in this game. First of all, the top number to me, Ricky, is a big one. 72 total plays, and here's why it's big. Not just that Seattle only snapped it 53 times, but I really think, given the number of snaps that defense played in the fourth quarter under pressure in the Super Bowl, I think they got a little bit worn down. Plus, they had injuries. Let's not forget that. So I think that's the biggest number of all. Seattle running the ball well. Russell Wilson's part of that, but Lynch rushed for 102 yards. And of course, third down conversions big. Patriots were 8 of 14. That's how they were able to overset the turnover loss in that game where they had 2 compared to 1 for Seattle.
And I'll tell you what, too, just looking at the yards rushing, I thought that New England didn't run the ball. Seattle didn't run the ball enough yesterday. I was looking at Seattle the whole day. I thought that, you know, they could have really shoved it down on New England's throat, and they didn't do that.
you know, Kenny, if you go back to Seattle in the fourth quarter, they ended up, I think it was 3 and outs, a punt, and then the INT. And remember the third down play where I think it was it Kearse? 3rd and 3, I want to say, and they were on the New England side of the field, and they went long to an outside receiver who had the ball in his hand. I can't think if it was Kearse or if it was Baldwin, but one of them dropped it. Do you remember the play? If they catch that ball, of course you can do a lot of ifs, right? But if they make that catch, who knows what happens? But my point is, I'm with you. I don't think they ran Marshawn Lynch enough, okay? Particularly late when you're trying to still protect that 10-point lead.
Well, this game had everything. And when you think about all of the elements that it had, the obvious and the star players playing like stars when it mattered, you also had the unlikely. The guys that maybe you've never heard of that stepped up and became pivotal forces in this game, starting with Malcolm Butler, a guy that was an undrafted free agent out of West Alabama, worked at Popeyes, played in 13 games this year, never had an interception. And by the way, Ricky, he didn't even set foot on the field until the 32nd snap of the game, and he makes the play of all plays.
And just like you said, you know, he looking for it to be a run play. He didn't think he would be in the game then. He, you know, when they called nickel or dime, when he had to go in, he was like, man, they're going to run this ball. So it really was a shock to him, too.
And he was involved in that great juggling catch by Kearse prior. And
he made a great play.
And he made it. He was great covered. You know, he just made a heck of a catch.
I think that, like I said to myself, too, you take a guy like that, you know, undrafted free agent, he not making no lot of money.
Right.
So, you know, they got him going to Disney World now, and I know that some of those guys, on the team, you know what I mean, Brady and them making all that money, they got to throw this guy a little bone. So he in a great position right now.
Yeah. Well, those of us that follow the SEC know who Chris Matthews is. This was an NBC telecast. It wasn't that Chris Matthews. It was this Chris Matthews for Seattle. Here's a guy that worked at Foot Locker. Here's a guy that didn't catch a pass all season long. Here's a guy that was on the field for just 26 offensive snaps the whole year. And in the Super Bowl, he's the big play man. 4 catches, 109 yards, and a touchdown. Ricky, how do you figure this?
Well, I mean, he got a special about him just looking at his body. I mean, being 6'5", 220 pounds, he got everything it takes. And he got the speed and he got the good hands. But I just wonder how they kept this guy under the radar all this time.
Well, he recovered the onside kick in the Green Bay game as well, Brian.
And you know what? And he wasn't on the field for that last play because he wasn't in that package.
It should have been a jump ball.
Absolutely.
You throw the
another
fade.
reason.
If you're going to throw a pass,
Yeah.
if you want to follow the Pete Carroll philosophy in that situation, which, okay, I'll at least listen to you. I'm not buying, but I'll listen. You throw the fade to the 6'5" receiver so that it's either incomplete or it's caught for a touchdown and you win the game.
You know,
But to throw it to the center of the field against an 8-man box in a goal line situation, I'm not buying.
when you think about it, and again, this is one of those games where they're gonna think about it for a long time, is that they were in total control of that moment. You had the timeout. You've got the league's probably best running back in that situation, and this happened. And you saw Tom Brady's face over on the sideline when he said,
Right, you
"Oh,
know what
Lord."
they call that? They call that karma.
Yeah, you're right about that. It is karma. It absolutely is karma.
Well, I tell you what, too, yesterday, man, just looking at the game, I seen some stuff that I really didn't like. I mean, just for looking at Sherman, the way
Yeah.
he carried on.
Baldwin, Doug Baldwin.
Reaver they throw the 1 yard pass, the referee picked Reaver, and he on TV talking about, throwing Reaver's nipple up
Baldwin's
about they
antics,
beat
man.
him.
Right.
And then Baldwin taking the pants down like he taking, it's just
Yeah.
a lot of stuff that the Seattle team do. You can be renegade,
No class.
but it's just no class. And Sherman, I thought he had a little more class. Coming from Cal like that, supposed to be a smart guy,
Right.
And you think he would have more class than what he has. So I lost a lot of
Agreed.
respect for him.
I agree.
Agreed, totally. Sports NOLA TV is presented by Premier Automotive. We would like to thank Troy Duhon and the entire Premier Automotive Group family for supporting the community. Premier Toyota of New Orleans at 13150 I-10 Service Road in New Orleans East is the place to be. Visit the website at toyotaofneworleans.com and stay tuned for Toyota's special deals throughout the show. Back to talk about your New Orleans Saints in just a moment on Sports NOLA TV.